people who was very active in the movement against the war was our Rabbi Foyer from the temple that we belong to. So I go to this rally, and he's one of the speakers, and he must have seen me in the group, because a week or so later, I get a call from someone downtown that they were forming an advisory board for the war on poverty, and this was under Lyndon Johnson, and they were getting community action agencies in towns to deal with poverty on a whole, like a war against, a whole new level. And they asked me, they said, our committees are 1/3 elected people, 1/3 public people, and 1/3 or people who are represent different groups, and then people who are the poor. So every committee and board was constituted that way. Well, Rabbi Foyer had been asked for Jewish representation, to suggest someone who would represent the Jewish community on that board. And he told me, he says, you know, I know there's some people who've been working in social action longer and so forth. He says, but I think you'd be good for this. So I did it, and it was fabulous for me, and I loved it, and I did a good job, and I was elected to, you know, offices and so forth. And then from there, the mayor put me on the Board of Community Relations, which dealt with race relations. And that, I think, is when I got out into the farmland with the migrants. So not too long ago, I had to come up with a resume for somebody. And everything I did was as a volunteer. But I also saw that everything I did was related to issues of social justice. So, and then I started, they asked me to plan a program for the Holocaust Memorial that an artist had been commissioned 5 years earlier to come up with a sculpture. And I started planning the program, and I said, you can't just dedicate this memorial, you've got to have a resource center. So I went to the board of the Federation, and I got some money, and I bought some books, and I started a Holocaust Resource Center. So I forgot what your question was.
Oh, that answers it. I was just asking, like, what jobs you had after.
Okay. And then I was on the Ohio Governor's Council on Holocaust Education. And then we moved.
No, I was just going to throw in that it might, I don't know if you're aware, that the community action agencies are still around. And in fact, I will be doing a review of the Quincy Community Action Program on Friday.
Quincy, Massachusetts.
Yeah. And they're the old, in fact, when I was in Maine, I reviewed the York Community Action.
It's interesting because what happened with the change of administration was that they took away direct grants, and it was going to come through the states, and then of course some states just ended up shrinking it down to nothing. And that's what happened most places. There's certainly no community action agency in
Yeah, no, I was surprised because I have quite a number of them participate in my program, and they're still around all over.
Wait, I want to know.
Oh,
Go ahead.
mine's just a wild card question for both of you. Do you guys believe in ghosts?
He does.
Ghost.
Yeah.
If it has two
Have you ever
sails on
seen a
it.
ghost?
No.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Ghost 13.
What?
No ghost.
Why do you ask?
Some people
There's just
believe
this
in ghosts.
interesting, like my mom's family, very, very into ghosts.
Well then,
We're
I
all
think,
very into ghosts.
I think this should be for her and her family. And these are solar powered bobbleheads.
Cool.
There's
That's
a
pretty
ghost,
cool,
a
Grandma.
pumpkin, and another one.
That one's pretty
Yeah,
freaking
and you
Frankenstein.
won
Thank you.
first prize anyway, but you have to take it. Whether
Could I give
Wait,
you
But
one?
I
it's
have
cute.
another.
He said
Amy?
save the package because you don't want
didn't
it to
give you
get.
one.
I mean, you can take it out, but
Yeah.
it needs sun shining on it
Oh my
to
goodness.
power.
Oh,
Wait,
This is
But-
an updated version.
Oh my
I want to
gosh.
know. I want to know who your favorite president has been in your lifetime.
Can we change it to in the history of America?
No, I
No,
want to know.
no,
I
that's
want to
not
know
okay.
in their lifetime, and then I
no,
also
that's a
would
good
like to know
question.
what president you think would win in a presidential knife fight.
Presidential night.
Wasn't there a duel between
One,
two presidents?
my favorite president.
Hamilton and Burr.
Hamilton and
Was-
Burr,
They
but they
weren't
weren't
presidents.
Harry
and it was a
Truman.
gunfight. Harry Truman, why?
Because he was a man who stood by his beliefs. He was not influenced by political
By money?
considerations or money. He was a plain person who was very smart.
He also backed the state of Israel at a time where it was
Yes,
very,
yes,
very
yes.
uncertain whether, and he took a stand and said,
I,
I'm gonna back it.
I didn't feel this way until more recently, but Johnson would get my vote. And the reason is, he was such a bastard that he was the only
Yeah,
person
yeah.
capable of scaring the shit out of every member of Congress. And that's how he got the Kennedy programs through. And I think he did more for this country than anyone. He was forced into a terrible situation in Vietnam, and he made a bad decision. And
Yeah, that was.
that ruined his reputation but he was such a powerful personality, and I give him credit for getting all of Kennedy's ideas through.
I
Cool.
would.
Wait, and then opinions on the presidential knife fight, or you want to think about it? Okay.
What
Are
are
we
There's-
gonna ask the
I don't think any of them are worth consideration.
That's gotta go.
Oh, this
Okay.
is another
Okay,
picture.
what are your guys' views on religion and like specifically Judaism?
Say the question again.
What are your views on Judaism?
And religion.
Oh, wow. Wow, we're gonna get pretty serious here. I believe strongly in Reconstructionist Judaism, which does not require you to believe in a anthropomorphic God, a God who
male
listens to everybody and saved you from being killed by taking the wrong plane, etc. I just don't believe in any of that at all. I believe in that Judaism serves as a community, not only whatever synagogue you belong to, but the worldwide community. There is a cohesiveness, what would you call it, that is important and that dates back to the beginning of, not the beginning, of